Sometimes when I'm thinking about us, before we got lost and we parted, back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight. This time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. Sometimes when I'm reasoning about us, I know you got me, it's so effortless. Back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight. This time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me?
Welcome to the FPV News. It is good to be here with you all, and it's good to have the titles working again.
Yeah.
How you doing, Blunty?
Good. How's it going, Joshua?
Good, good, good. I asked you, the titles have been broken. I don't know why they were broken, and I don't know why they're fixed now, but zoop, zoop. And I said to you, Blunty, before we started, are they important? Should I fix them? And you feel that they're pretty important.
Yeah. Well, I use them for the timestamps when I do the news editing.
When you
So,
edit down
for
the
the
live
clips
stream to
channel.
the live stream
Yeah.
clips channel that everyone should sub to.
Yeah.
Ooh, I feel dirty. It's a little early for a PSA. You know?
Yeah.
Or not a PSA, a call to action, a CTA. A little early. It didn't used to be the way. It used to be all the YouTube logic was you would say, "What's up, everybody? Welcome to the video. Hey, before we get into the video, subscribe and like and comment." And it's like, yeah, I also like to be asked to, pay for my food before it's delivered to me and I get to taste it. No, it's not good. It is good to be here, though. It's a little bit of a. I don't want to undersell it, but it's a little bit of a slow week for news. We had to. We added some stuff, but we're gonna liven it up with our winning personality. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wesley Vardy with some risky humor in the chat. He says, "I'm new here, but this opening animation looks like crap and is all washed out." Making fun of a commenter who said, on my channel, the guy's name was Jerry something. We're just going to call him Jerry. And he was like, "Somebody recommended your channel to me, and I just got here, and I'm not impressed." And I was like, okay, well, nice to fucking meet you. Oh, wow. Oh, I've been listening to YouTubers swear because everyone's upset about the new YouTube monetization policy, so I've been cutting loose a little bit. We'll see if I get demonetized. All right. But we are going to get started with public service announcements. Little quick things that really affect a few of you, and so we want to make sure you don't miss them. And the first one relates to the NewBeeDrone B-Brain BL4, their new binding fly. Why is that a public service announcement? Why is it even newsworthy?
Well, we just wanted to let you know before we've done this with other brands, we want to give you a heads up that if you are looking at buying the new NewBeeDrone AIO board, the BLV4 specifically, which is a UART based receiver, which is normally good. However, unfortunately, they have done a UART diversity receiver, and they have not worked with the ExpressLRS developers to make this happen. So as we've seen with other cases where this has happened, they essentially release a half-working product where you can bind in some cases, and there's some specific setups and things you can do to bind. They give a binding process on their site, but they also link a video from Ciati where he went and had kind of a mess trying to get it to bind the first time on live stream and stuff. So unfortunately, this is kind of a good example of why you need to work with the developers to make sure this stuff is taken care of.
It's not good when the tutorial video on your product page for saying, thanks, bro, for showing how to do this, the title is Binding Fiasco Part 1. It's like, it's not good. Yeah. I am happy to say that I also, he's stealing my thunder for Ciati. I also, today, just bound mine and recorded the process for a tutorial. It went smoothly since I knew all the problems. See, normally you would flash a ExpressLRS receiver with your binding phrase, but you can't flash it because NewBeeDrone just went off and they were like, cool, we're going to make this receiver, and they did. And they didn't contact the ExpressLRS team and work with them and notify them, so you can't flash it from the ExpressLRS configurator. In fact, you can't flash it at all. You can download firmware from them. I guess you could flash that. I was able to bind it using the 3 plug-unplug method, but only after flashing my module back to ExpressLRS 2.5, because it doesn't ship. And how did you ship an ExpressLRS receiver in January 2023 without ExpressLRS 3.0 on it? Geez, when did that even come out, Blunty? A long time ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this happened, but
okay.
Darren Huang from NewBeeDrone posted on here and said there was some kind of miscommunication, and then responded to Jai, said they'll work with it. That was 6 days ago. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things where I don't know how he wasn't aware that there's a new board that uses ExpressLRS. I don't know. It seems a little strange as a response, but
well, I will say, I mean, I have been there in the past where I've got my head down working on something, and I get into a situation where I create a problem, and then people say, why don't you just ask? Like, we've got a whole method of getting help with this problem that if you had actually gotten your head out of your own ass, you would have been aware of. And so, I mean, I could imagine that something like that happened. NewBeeDrone's response to me, I feel like they were like, oh shit, yeah, we'll get right on that, which I guess is the best you can do. The least, well, really more like the least you can expect. But it sounds like they are working with the ExpressLRS devs now. Hopefully we will see a target for this receiver in the configurator soon. It is cool that they made the first diversity ExpressLRS receiver on an AIO board. It just means that if you have that, what you can do is, number one, if you have ExpressLRS 2.x on your module, you can just bind it using the plug-unplug method. Or you can actually flash. Where's the download button links? Hang on. There they are. So they've got a link to the firmware here, and I used. Let's see if this still happens. Yeah, it's 404s. You freaking you're doing great, NewBeeDrone. So you can go to the GitHub page. Oh, it's because I'm not logged in.
We linked.
Sorry, go.
We linked also the Facebook post for this that Brandon posted on Facebook, where he says that you can also just flash the Maytech 2400 R244D target, and that works fine.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because this is a UART. This is SPI. or not SPI rather, it's UART. So you just flash it like an RX. You know what I mean?
You know, I saw that post and I forgot about it while I was making the video today about what you should do if you run into this problem. So that kind of probably I should go back and put that in.
Yeah, hopefully, like you said, they'll have an official target, but right now it looks like the Maytech R24D target works. You just have to force that flash. So.
Alrighty. So the PSA here is, number one, if you have this flight controller, there is a workaround, various methods. Probably what I would do is just flash the Maytech target, like you said, and just forget the NewBeeDrone even existed. Not permanently, but the other PSA is, if you are a company who is making Express LRS hardware, there is absolutely no excuse to not involve the Express LRS devs in your process so that on the day you release the hardware, you're in the configurator and your users, your customers can flash the damn hardware. Okay. That's the PSA. Next up.
Next up, we have a GoFundMe for a house fire.
Yes. And I'm the one who put this on there. And I say that because, you know, we get notifications sometimes from people who say, oh, hey, I'm doing a GoFundMe for various things. Can you signal boost it? And sometimes it's not FPV related. And it's like, well, that's not really something, it's not really something we're going to do. But I thought, you know, it takes 3 minutes to do a signal boost and you can help people. And as far as I can tell, I did a cursory amount of investigation to try to see if this is legit or a scam. I couldn't find any indication that it wasn't legit. So we're going to tell you about this GoFundMe. You can decide whether you want to contribute or not. I'm not personally endorsing it and saying anything about it, but I thought, you know, what kind of an asshole would I be if I went my whole life and I was like, I don't know, I'm not going to mention this because you never know. It's probably more likely than not that these are legitimate and you're helping somebody out. So I'm willing to. I'm so afraid whenever a GoFundMe comes along, it's going to turn out to be, oh yeah, well actually that person was a murderer, or that person took all the money and I don't know. But I can't live like that. You know what, Blunty? I'm gonna assume the best about people.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So here it is. This GoFundMe is from Christopher Edgar and Daniel Saltwell are organizing it. And this gentleman's house burned down. There are more pictures he sent me in his chat, in a private chat, which I'll just look at this right now. There was a fire in their car. Their house burned down. They all got out safe, but literally they just have the clothes on their back, and they are couch surfing in their friend's house, and they're trying to raise some money. So there's a signal boost for you. I would say if you got a little bit of money that you give away every month or every week, or if you happen to have something sitting around that you feel like you could spare, then go ahead. There's a link in the video description. Is there? Did that get added? It better have gotten added.
Yep. I mean, there should be a link. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we weren't going to do this one at first, and I may have forgotten to copy it in. So let me just make sure I copied it in.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's in there. So you guys can go ahead and do that. Wesley Vardy actually says he knows the guy. Okay, well there we go. I'm feeling better about doing it. I don't know. It's like YouTuber problems. Like people are always asking you for help. Oftentimes that takes the form of, can I have a free quadcopter? You get those?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The issue I have is just that we're gonna get so many. I feel like we're gonna get a bunch more emails now about this kind of stuff.
I hear you. You know what? I feel like, you know what? It costs us. I'm with you. Yeah. I'm on the fence. We can always decide not to run them if we don't want to.
Yep.
And we could always decide to run them every now and then. It takes a few minutes of our time, and maybe it significantly helps someone in the world. And I feel like if I said no, we can't do this because I don't want to, because it'll be annoying to get a million people who need help in the world because tragedy struck them, and they're annoying me by putting their messages in my inbox. I just don't feel like I want to be that guy today.
I mean, that's one way to spin it. The other way is, hey, a bunch of people want free money, and we don't want to give people free money. You know what I mean? Like, I get where you're coming from, but it's just hard to know because of all the situations, and we're a platform where we signal boost. So, yeah.
I agree.
I always lean on the other side, but that's fair. And, yeah.
I usually do, too.
Yeah.
today I was like, you know what? Okay. All right. Enough about that.
Yep.
Very sorry to hear. The fire, by the way, I know you're wondering, was not lipo related. It was just a rant. Not all house fires come from lipos. Alrighty.
Okay.
Moving on. We got one more PSA, don't we?
Yes.
No.
No.
Was that it? Was that
Nope,
all the PSAs?
Yep, and we're moving on to our first story about Orqa FPV.
Oh.
Orqa FPV has lowered the price on their goggles, likely in response to the HDZero sale. We saw them post right after that they were going to drop the price. So yeah, we got a new price from them, and
New price.
you know, I totaled
$4.99 for the racing edition with the smaller field of view.
Yeah, and I titled this
$4.69. Sorry, Blunty, keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you know, and I titled this section, "Is it low enough?" And my answer is no, it's not low enough.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Why is it not low
499 euros is $538 US.
Oh, that's
So for
euros. How dare you, Orqa?
So for $538, you can buy an Orqa goggle, or for $495 right now and $595 later, you can buy HDZero goggles, which are as good or better in many ways, have better screens, have better refresh rate, have better everything, will support analog better, and have a built-in HDZero module that comes with them.
Yeah.
Orqa does not seem to be directly competing at this point, or attempting to, because that price does not at least show me that they are attempting to directly compete.
Yeah, I think that you're right. So I've been using the HDZero goggles for the last I don't know when I got them, but at least a week. And I recorded the video a couple days ago. It's in editing, my review. So I have thoughts. I have fresh thoughts about it. I think that if a person only flew analog and had literally zero interest in HDZero or walk snail, then there could be an argument that Orqa is a better goggle for them than the HDZero goggle. It's going to have a bigger screen. That's not true. 38 degrees. It's the same.
Yeah.
Assuming a 4.3 camera, they have the same field of view. Your screen's going to be the same size. I guess what was the main thing would be that it's just sort of more compact. You don't have the module hanging off the side.
Yeah, basically you just don't have a module bay, but that's literally the only. I mean, but you have worse analog too. You know, you don't have that interlacing in
the deinterlacer. That does matter. But like somewhere out there, there's someone who would say, I'd rather have the Orqa goggles. They're lighter, they're smaller, they're more compact. But at a higher price, I just don't see it. And how many people out there truly can say that I do not and never will have interest in any other video system than analog? Come on, really? And as soon as you crack that door, the HDZero goggle surges into the lead. Yeah,
pretty much. Just because, it's got 1080p screens. And so if you were, for instance, going to do the walk snail system, you'd only be able to run that in 60 frames per second mode on the Orqa goggles.
Correct.
I just think I don't know. We talked before about that the HDZero goggles will go back up in price to $595 or $599 on like the 5th or 6th or something of next month. So at that point, you'll be paying, you can pay $538 for the FPV1 Pilot, or you can pay $599 to get a module in a better, I would arguably say a better goggle. It's got better screens and better features, and it's open source. I mean,
it's got so much going for it.
Like the at least the software side's open source. Orca's like, yes, we'll make you components for, we'll make you extra software, and then they're like, actually, we're not going to make you software, or this software is not going to come, and that sort of thing. And I don't know. There's just a lot of pieces here that make me wonder, where they're really trying to fit in here, where they see themselves in the market. Yeah.
There are some questions coming in the chat that I think deserve to be acknowledged. Guillermo Nispolo is confused by my statement about the screen on the HDZero. Let me try and make this as concise as possible. If you have a 16:9 screen and you're showing a 4:3 image inside the 16:9 screen, which will be the case if you're using an analog camera on the HDZero goggles, then you got a 46-degree field of view widescreen, but that's only a 38-degree field of view if you're looking at a 4:3 image pillar boxed inside that 69 screen. That is, the Orqa goggle has a 4:3 screen with like a 37-degree field of view. The HDZero goggle has a 16:9 screen with a 46-degree field of view that becomes 38 degrees when you look at a 4:3 camera. So if you're flying analog Orqa will have just as big an image, unless you have an analog camera that does 16:9, which they do exist. But I assume that that's the minority. Can you just update other existing goggles to run the screens at 100 hertz? Like, that's one of the big things HDZero is going for it in terms of HDZero, and when used with the Walksnail VRX, that they can run at 90 hertz or 100 hertz. I don't think you can.
No, I mean, you would have to do, like we discussed, you'd have to do some kind of like thing like DJI is doing, where you do half frames or something, so your goggles are seeing a different amount than the camera is running at. Mm-hmm. But really, there's not a lot to be gained there, since you're not, you know what I mean, you're not recording it.
Exactly.
Whereas there is something to be gained because you have 90 hertz displays in the HDZero goggle. So
yep. So the HDZero goggle is a real killer product right now for anyone who flies analog. It's arguably the best, especially at the lower price. I guess I'm trying to be contrary. Somebody in my Discord was like, I like a big field of view. Skyzone Skyo 4X has a bigger field of view with an analog system than the HDZero. I think they're at like 40. I think they're like around 46 degrees with a 4.3 screen. So it's going to be significantly bigger than the 38 degree 4.3 field of view of the HDZero goggle. Skyzone's not a bad analog goggle, and it works okay with the Walksnail VRX too. But it's like $569, so it's more expensive. They're killing it.
Yeah, and you're losing, like we said, you're losing that 100 hertz mode on the Walksnail, so you're always going to run that higher latency.
That is a good point. Can't overlook that. Yep. Nobody else does that. Not yet. So good job, HDZero, and good job. I will say also, we got another news piece coming up, don't we? Do we have a news piece coming up about the 90 hertz thing?
No, we didn't do that one.
We decided not to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just briefly say, I flew the 90 hertz camera, the 90 FPS camera. I was affected. I need more experimentation is needed, but I was noticeably impressed, and I didn't expect to be. Like, I really expected it to be another situation where it's like, it seems the same to me, because it's only like 2 milliseconds faster latency. So what difference could it possibly make? I don't know, but I was impressed.
Might be time for some double blind testing there. But it's hard because there's a different resolution, right?
It's different resolution. So I thought, what if they implemented a 540-60 mode, which they actually are going to implement, and then you could run 540-60 and 540-90 and do a test. But I'm pretty sure you could tell the difference between 60 and 90 FPS just visually.
Yeah, but that's enough. Isn't that enough? To me, that's enough to say, okay, great. Like, I don't know that everybody knows that for sure. That's what I would say. I think a lot of people would argue that.
I don't know. I don't think you could blind. I think it would be difficult to blind that. But I'm always interested in science. That's why I'm kind of hesitant to go, it was so good, because I know placebo is real.
Well, I think there's a difference between saying, are we blind testing latency, and are we blind testing, can I tell which one is which, right? Like, to me. Oh, yeah. Like, I think if you blind test and just make sure you know which one is which, for sure, right? Mm-hmm. To me, that shows like, hey, at least there's a difference here. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. You're right. The very first thing you do is you just do a split test where you see if they can tell the damn difference between A and B. And if not, then stop. That's why go ahead.
What are you seeing except a smoother video? You know what I mean? Like, what are you seeing except more frames that make it easier to, I don't know. Like, I feel like that test, even though it seem simple, is showing the difference that they're purporting to have, right?
Fair enough. I mean, I have a theory that, so here's what confused me, Blunty. Analog video, very low latency, as low as maybe 16 milliseconds. I'm skeptical that the difference between 14 and 16 milliseconds is perceptible, but I could be wrong. 14 milliseconds being what HDZero 90 FPS runs at. I have also flown high frame rate with like DJI 120 FPS, and neither of them did I feel was like, OMG, what's happening here? This is amazing. This is weird. I wonder if there's something about the combination of high frame rate and low latency, which I've never flown before. That is what I'm feeling.
Yeah, could be.
Very interesting. Well, so more about that when the video comes out, but a little HDZero. We were supposed to be doing Orqa news. We did HDZero. Oh, well, That was kind of
It's
the
okay.
point of the story, I guess, right?
It's okay.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to say about Orqa?
No, I think that's about it. Maybe people will respond differently, but like I said, I don't feel like it's going to change that much in people's minds. We'll find out.
The big thing with HDZero is they can't make them fast enough. Is actually the problem right now. They got to make them faster. Okay. Alrighty. Continuing to the next story. There's a problem with the O3 air unit that affects people who fly like fixed-wing planes and other vehicles that don't have a flight controller. And thanks to Madstech for, I think he was the first one I heard point this out, he discovered that it does not go to full power, even if you turn temperature protection off. Temperature protection on the V2 air units reduces the output power so they don't overheat. Temperature protection in the O3, it like changes the frame rate and the modulation, but the output power doesn't really go down. And then when you disable temperature protection, the output power doesn't go up. It basically won't go to full power until the flight controller tells it that it has been armed, which is a problem if you don't have a flight controller, because then basically it means your O3 can't go to full power. Oops. Well, there's a fix now.
Yeah, there is a fix now. There's a GitHub project here where you can run a little Arduino deal and then get it to output the correct information, the correct data to run this without a flight controller. You just still do need something else, but at least it's not a flight controller.
Yeah, and I mean, surely this is the kind of thing that somebody like, I don't know, like an iFlight or a NewBeeDrone or a Happy Model could mass produce for like 3 cents or whatever and let people who have airplanes use, instead of having to buy whatever they're using. This is a Arduino. I mean, I don't know. It's probably not that expensive, but it'd be nice to see this mass produced and just have a little device that boom. And it's the DJI O3 Unlocker, or I don't know what you would call it. But yeah, you're going to want this if you have a fixed wing and an O3 air unit. So it's very nice that this project has been made.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people in the chat of this video are actually going to be affected by this. Quadfather asks, if they can't make the HDZero goggles fast enough and demand is so high, why lower the price? I mean, that's a fair point, Quadfather. The only reason to lower the price is that you want more sales.
They don't want to sell hardware. We've been over this. They're not interested in selling hardware. HDZero, Divomath does not care about money from hardware. That's not the point.
Yeah.
They're selling stuff as low as they can get it, to as bare minimum as they can get it. And, he points out that this is a pre-order, as they've said before. If you buy a goggle now from HDZero, you're getting it in March, unless you're the first couple hundred. And that's because they're doing a large order to get the prices down even more.
Well, that's what I was going to say. There are two reasons to lower the price on a product. One is that you want to sell more of them, like with a permanent price drop. And the other is that you need some of tomorrow's orders today, right? So you temporarily lower the price to push those orders into the present. And that's what HDZero is doing. They want to do a bigger order so they can have better margins and they can order more optics modules and parts and get a better price. And so they're lowering the price to encourage people to buy it. I feel like there's got to be a motivation there to improve the user base, but
well, like we said before, the goal is to sell chipsets. Like eventually the goal is that they're going to stop selling hardware. All the hardware will be sold by other third-party manufacturers, and that you'll be able to buy the HDZero chipsets off of somewhere. Presumably DigiKey would be how this actually works out properly, but you can order them from a place that sells hardware, chipsets and ICs and stuff, and then you can build your own hardware and sell it however you like, because it'll be basically open source other than the actual how the chip is made sort of thing.
Yeah,
that's what we've been told, and if that works out, how that seems to be the plan. And for that plan, it is better to have more and more and more of these goggles out there, no matter how much you're making off of them. Because if you got more out there, then that means more hardware can be supported later when other manufacturers are trying to build it and sell that. So,
yeah, that's a good plan. We'll see how that pans out. I feel like Carl is going to be in the hardware business longer than he thinks. I mean, he's a realist. Maybe
I don't agree. I think as soon as they actually release, like I've said before, I've seen these backroom deals and how these people are talking in the back, and a lot of people are being held up by HDZero, not able to produce hardware. So I believe as soon as HDZero steps out of the way from the hardware step and they just allow chipsets and people to do what they want, I think there'll be a huge wealth of hardware that comes out from HDZero. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Where's that Foxier HDZero video transmitter we were all waiting for? That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
Nope. Where is it? It's been coming.
I assume held up in red tape. Oh, would be my guess.
Yeah. That's yeah. Okay. Well, that would be nice if that happened. Next up, we have a story about a drone accident.
Yeah, so this has been going around the internet. We wanted to kind of clue you into what happened, or as best as we could tell what happened, because this has been pretty big news, and I think it's the first time we've seen anything like this in the commercial sector of things. There was a Netflix show that was filming called Agent from Above. It's a Chinese language series for Netflix. And it looks like there's been a drone accident on the set. So we wanted to clarify exactly what happened there, because there's been some different stuff going around. But we've got the deadline story for you, because there's a good quote about halfway down the story where they clarify exactly what happened. They say there was no drone explosion or blade shattering. Unfortunately, for unknown reasons, the drone accidentally hit the cheekbone area of Ko's face and caused injuries. They did say he had to get like 30 stitches, 20 to 30 stitches. And he is recuperating currently. But this is the first time I think we've seen, something like this impact talent on a set. And this is definitely making news because of that. So,
I mean, of course, we were all wondering what type of aircraft it was, what size props, why it wasn't using like ducted props. I mean, when you say for unknown reasons the drone contacted the actor, it sounds to me like the pilot screwed up, right? I mean, that's what it feels like to me. And then you got to ask, well, why was an aircraft that didn't have guarded props flying close enough to an actor?
It did have guarded props.
It did?
Yes.
We know
the
that
guards
it did.
did not break. Yes.
Well,
that's what they're claiming.
Doesn't seem like the guards were very effective.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah. I mean, I'm dying to know what drone it was, but I don't know if we're going to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, people saying 20 to 30 stitches sounds like a lot. You got to think about it. For God's sakes, please don't take this as an invitation to send me gruesome pictures of injuries. I don't need it. I've seen them. But when you got a drone propeller accident, a lot of times there are whop, 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 like 3 or 4 cuts in a row where the props hit you as it's moving. So, a single laceration that had 30 stitches would be pretty extraordinary, especially to the face. Faces aren't that big. But I'm imagining that it went tuck, tuck, tuck. And so he might have, 10 stitches per, which, anyway. Hopefully they recover okay. And, I mean, it was only a matter of time. But,
yeah, at some point this does have to happen. You hope that prop guards and things help avoid this, but it sounds like it is hit in such a way, at such an angle or whatever that, they were still able to do damage to his face, unfortunately. So I guess we'll find out on the other side of this how he looks and what happens. I'm sure they have plastic surgery and stuff. They can fix a lot of this stuff. And it'll be interesting to see how the industry takes this. I think for most other things, you just assume that sometimes there's going to be accidents, and we'll find out if drones have the same fate or if people are a little scared away from this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Alec Baldwin shot somebody, so shit happens, I guess. You have safety protocols, and then afterwards you do an investigation and figure out. But drones being so new on movie sets, you got to wonder if they're going to be like, oh, we got to freak out now or something.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Alrighty. Okay. Moving
All right.
on.
Yeah. Next up, we have spoilers for DRL.
Shit.
So if you don't want DRL spoilers, tune away now. But yeah, so the last Sim series just happened. Biosphere, and in this one I want to give a congratulations to Halowalker, who we believe has done something that's never happened before in the DRL series.
Today's race was there something
Sim series, of course, but he was able to get 6 heat wins, so he won every single heat in the finals, and then went on to win the golden heat as well.
Whoa. He won all 6. Oh, I misunderstood the title. I had heard about this. I thought they were saying, I didn't realize he won 6 heats within the single event. That's really something.
Yeah, he won 6 heats in a row, and then he went on to win the Golden Heat. So yeah, as far as I know, that's the first time that has ever happened.
Like a full sweep. Have I lost you? Have I lost the stream? There you are. You're back. Oh, he's doing something with his screen. There's been a technical issue. I think Blunty can't hear me.
Sorry, my graphics have crashed here. Bear with me.
No problem.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Your Blunty's graphics card was unfortunately a casualty of the move. So I'm not sure how you're doing what you're doing, but you're still doing it. Oh, are we back? That's okay. We were a little short on time today anyway, so we'll just kill some time. I'll tell you what. While Blunty is getting his graphics back, I'll go ahead and do the promo section, where we don't promote sponsors or anything like that. We promote our own stuff. And the first thing I'm going to promote to you is FPVKnowItAll.com, my website, where you can get suggestions for products in all kinds of different categories. Whatever you're looking for, if you're not sure what to get, you're not sure. I'd like to say the best. We do try to show the best, but like, sometimes there might be better stuff out there that we haven't quite got to yet, because we don't want to put something on here just because it's new and hot. We like to be confident these are good parts that you will hold up to your use and you'll be happy with them. And that's what the ultimate FPV shopping list is. So, Search FPV. Search FPV is a multi-store FPV product search engine. Anytime you're looking for, where can I buy such and such? Just head to searchfpv.com. Pick your region, so you can search in USA, Canada. We have 2 Canadian stores. I believe we're working on at least 1 Australian store. Pick your region. Put in what you want to search for. JBF7V2. And it'll show you, you can even search for in stock only. If you're tired of things always being out of stock, you can do in stock only and find out who's got that in stock. That is, come on, give me the results. Oh, don't you crash on me. Don't you crash on me. Oh, man. Oh, man. Somewhere. Eric Toft's got to be so annoyed that every time I show, it seems like every time I show the webpage on a stream, it has a bug. I believe it's just, the reviewer's curse. Okay, well, I'm sure he'll get to it. Yeah, people use it all day long and it works fine. And then as soon as I try to do it on a stream, it dies. Okay. Alrighty. Well, lastly, we want to tell you about Joshua Bardwell livestream clips channel. If you don't get to watch all of my live streams, if you miss any part of my live streams, head on over to Joshua Bardwell livestream clips and subscribe. And Blunty does clips from my live streams.
Yeah, I do clips for the live stream for
you're back.
From every one of your streams or the news. I try to put those together. So
yeah. And of course, now that you're back. Lastly, we've got itsblunty.com, which is Blunty's website, where you can sign up for one-on-one calls. Are you doing those again, Blunty? Now that you're settled in?
Yes, I have started doing those again. So
okay.
Yep, just did one yesterday.
Oh, good. So you want to book an hour phone call with Blunty to talk about drones, get on a Zoom and fix your quad? You talk about whatever you like, really.
Popular one lately has been new people who don't know anything about the hobby, who are like trying to figure out what to do and what to buy and what to decide. Just hop on for an hour and ask a bunch of questions, and we figure out like where they want to fit and what kind of drone they need and what their niche is going to be and all that kind of stuff. So
that's really valuable. I mean, a lot of people say, and I don't agree with this for the record, but a lot of people say, you should just do your research, just Google it. And some people like to sort of get thrown in the deep end and just drown and suck water for a week or two. And then when they come out, they're reborn as someone who knows about FPV. But a lot of people don't find that to be enjoyable or don't have time for it. And they're just like, can somebody just talk to me and tell me what I need?
Yeah.
$50,
Absolutely.
well worth it. No.
Yeah.
Okay. That is our promos for today. So we were talking about Halowalker. Anything else to say other than congratulations?
No, yeah, just that's pretty cool. You know, DRL is continuing, but Halowalker, yeah, it was pretty dominant. So that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, yeah. Good job, Halowalker. Dominating in the sim. The sim has really shaken up DRL. I think it's really made it possible for people to become competitive. Because to be good in a sim, my impression is that if you want to be good in the sim, the way to be good is to just spend 10 hours a day grinding for months, and then you get really, really good in the sim. And the problem is that there's enough people willing to grind for hours and hours a day that they've raised the skill bar in the sim so high that people who only want to grind for like an hour a day are just not even competitive. And so you got pilots like, I'm going to just pick on Vanover. I don't have the impression that Vanover loves grinding the sim. He wants to fly real drones. And so he's just not as good in the sim as somebody like, well, I was going to say Rab FPV, but Rab is a freaking beast in the real world too. So that's a bad argument, but, yeah. It's changed it. Is it better or worse with sims and real life versus purely real life? Your take.
Oh, like DRL?
Yeah.
I think DRL should just be real life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody, I think they're losing a lot of viewership from having a sim series, but I think they need a sim series and they're probably getting enough money from Algorand. They don't really care. That would be my guess.
Yeah. I don't
believe the sim series stuff is done on NBC, for instance. Like, as far as I know, the NBC contract is only the real.
God, no. You're not going to show a sim race on NBC.
Yeah.
Surely.
So.
I loved it in the years where they had a live series and a sim series, right? I don't know if they ever had did they have their main pilots racing in the sim series, or was that just a separate thing that they do every year?
I think so, but I'm not sure if it was always combined scoreboards. So.
Yeah. But I'm the same way, you know, no disrespect to Sims, but it always feels to me like the draw of DRL was the live racing. And then, you know, 2020 happened and everything changed and the world is a different place now. So F it, right? But I wonder if it's a little unfair. And, well, I shouldn't say unfair. It's a kind of a hot take. I haven't really thought this through. So I may regret this. But like to have sim racing and real life racing is in some sense a different skill set, and it may not be the best thing for the athletes and the user and the viewers to combine them.
I think we could make the same argument though for years past when they selected the next DRL racer by who can race the fastest in the sim. Right, that's been happening for years and years and years. You know, they've been equating that sim idea to real flight, but it's not, right?
But then you're there, and they're like, okay, now you got to fly in real life. So it was a fun way to get someone in.
Yeah, I agree, but you're not testing the same skill. If what we're positing is true, then you've tested the wrong skill to get into DRL because you've tested sim skill and grinding versus real life piloting, right?
No. But my point is that was never about finding the best pilot. It was pure marketing. It was the golden ticket, if you will. It's like we're gonna take all these real world pilots and one guy who got in on the sim. How weird is that? It was just marketing.
Interesting, but that's the only way they added new pilots for the last 4 years, right? Like, I agree with what you're saying, but as far as I know, that's how they're adding new pilots. So,
is it?
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong there, but as far as I know, that's how the new pilots are getting there.
I guess you're right. Vanover and Heads Up got in on the sim. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. See, I told you it was a hot take, and I might be wrong, and I might regret it. So there you go.
Yeah, to me, yeah, I mean, so like the sim makes sense for people who got in by the sim, but then people before that who got in for other reasons, because as far as I know, that was a thing that started at some point.
Yeah.
So, it does seem weird that now they're going back to the sim. Half of it is sims, and some people are going to be better equipped to do that, and people who have never had to train for that before now suddenly have to train for that and stuff. So
yeah,
it is a little odd, I would say.
It may be what you're saying is that if you're going to have real world races and you're going to start by picking a stable of real world pilots, right, as you then bring people in who excel on the sim, those people will be worse in the real world because that's not where they excel necessarily, but they will raise the skill bar ceiling on the sim races. And since now we're also racing sim races in the real world, in the real season, now everything, like when you've got, 6 guys who came in off real world racing and like 3 guys who came in off the sim, and all your races are in the real world, those sim guys are underdogs in a way, right? Like FU on your computer now fly a real drone. As soon as you crack the door and let them race in the sim in the real series, suddenly all the other guys are underdogs in a way.
I'll tell you as well, I tried to show, I'm in Alabama now, for some people who know that. We talked about it a little bit last week. I tried to show some people around here what DRL is and how it works. And, people have asked about racing. Nobody can follow anything in MultiGP. We've had that discussion before. It's a mess. Right. Like, you try to follow any DVR or how it's going, and nobody can watch it. Right. They don't really do it for spectators anyway. But then I put on some DRL, and the first thing that came up was a sim series, and they were just like, this is a simulator. Who cares? Like, immediately, it's just immediately response was, this isn't real drones. Why would I care about this? Right. So
only drone people are excited by sim racing.
Yeah. So I think the whole point of DRL is supposed to be, it's a sport, right? Right. Yeah. So.
Yep. Real world consequences.
Hopefully we can see, more move back to that. And I would be interested to know if they're doing it on purpose or if it's probably way less money for them to do.
Oh God!
Right, because you don't have to put real events on and ship people everywhere, and like it's a whole production, right?
I mean, how much does it cost to rent a stadium for a night and put a race in it?
I don't know, but I bet the cost of like DRL's overhead is probably 4 times that too. Like DRL's got so much going on. Some of their behind the scenes stuff is insane with like trucks they roll in and the amount of drums they have extra and the whole production they put up and repeaters over everything and So
yeah, eventually they will have to actually turn a profit. You think they're profitable?
Do they have to turn a profit? I don't know. They could just, this is tech, right? So you can keep riding the investment train if you can keep getting investment, right? Algorand put in $100 million over 5 years, so they're still riding that train.
Yeah, but what is Algorand? Algorand didn't do that as a charity.
They're getting promotion. They're getting promotion. That's what they're doing. Everything's presented by Algorand. They have Algorand commercials over every single event. They have all these stuff is presented by Algorand. The new Drone Galaxy app that we talked budget. That Drone Galaxy app that we talked about a month or two ago. That's presented by Algorand. So yeah. Wait, everything's built on their blockchain. So
how much was it that they gave them?
$100 million over 5 years. I believe.
Yeah, that's $20 million a year advertising. That's a substantial advertising budget.
Yeah.
It's surprising if that's pure marketing and not an investment, then I can't imagine how lucrative crypto must be that they can afford that, I guess is what I want to say.
Well, I think the crypto is very lucrative for the right people.
Sad. I took $1,000 to do a Raid Shadow Legends commercial. I'm not any better. I'm like, how could you afford to pay me $1,000 to do a gaming commercial? There's no way you're not losing money on this. But they wrote the check, and I was like, okay. And it has to mean that that can't be clean money. There's no way. I don't know. Anyway.
All right.
Let's see here.
Next up, it's time for...
It's barely
news, where we do some stories that don't quite make it to the main news list, but we wanted to at least tell you that happened. So the first one up we got is an Apple Watch attached to a drone has been used to help detect gunshots.
Wow. So Apple Watch has an app that detects gunshots?
Yes, I believe helps triangulate gunshots, and they're using that plus a drone to get to perspective. And Yeah, it's basically used as a sensor in the gunshot detection system.
Oh, so. I see. This company makes... So I've heard of this. It's a gunshot detection system. The city will mount microphones all over the city, like on light posts. And then when there's a gunshot, they can triangulate the location of the gunshot and notify the police automatically. So this is an extension of that.
Yeah, the Apple Watch, the Pro version they're having, uses 3 different microphones, so it can even do localization around it. And then they're using that on top of a drone with other stuff to help localize gunshots.
All right. So they put it up in the air and it can just hear more gunshots. Okay. That's kind of cool. Clever.
Yeah.
All righty. Next
up, we've got another flying car sort of deal. And this one's kind of interesting. It's a single-person jet-powered flying car, essentially. And it's kind of interesting because it seems like it can do Acro.
Hell yeah.
Which is something we haven't really seen out of these single-person vehicles yet.
I'm down. I want to show it to me. Oh, are we going to get to see it in this video?
I believe right at the end he does some flippy stuff.
Doing it over the water. Wonder why.
Yeah.
How many motors has it got? I'm kind of having trouble. It's cut.
I believe there's 10. I think it's either 8 or 10, but I think there's 10. I think there's one in the back and one in the front.
Wow. That looks pretty badass. I mean, oh,
there you go.
Shit, yeah. Oh.
So that's pretty neat.
Oh. Jesus Christ, dude.
Obviously, VTOL, 10 micro turbojets, a max speed of 250 kilometers an hour. And they're doing a flight test campaign in the United States. So, would you get in that thing and do Acro?
Yes.
Okay.
Hell yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Some of chat
I'll fly the
shit
shit out of that. What are you talking about?
Some of chat seems to disagree with you.
That I would do it or that they would do it?
A lot of chat seems to think they would not do it, so.
Oh, come on, what could go wrong? Flight test campaign in the United States. Get Jet Racer, Frank.
Yeah, so as we've discussed before.
Get in touch with me.
As we've discussed before, manned aircraft in the United States who are this small normally classified as ultralight, and they have different restrictions. So because you're in it, you typically do not have near the restrictions that you have in a drone. I don't believe you even need a license for this because of the class it'll fall in. You literally can just hop in it, and fly it away because it's experimental.
Yeah, it's interesting. People are confused about the fact that drones have more regulation than aircraft, big aircraft that carry people. But the theory, I think, is that if you're a dumbass in an experimental aircraft, you will solve that problem. You will only get to be a dumbass once.
Yes,
and then that problem will be solved. And with drones, you can be a dumbass repeatedly, as Philly Mikey shows.
Yes, correct.
Oh, name calling, starting shit. Sorry, Philly Mikey is not a dumbass, but he does have repeated infractions. That's why I went that way. Blunty, that's a good point in the chat. Why is this barely news? This seems like really newsworthy. You thought this was barely news?
We've looked at how many flying cars at this point.
Yeah, look, it's upside down, Blunty. It's doing a flip. Have you seen one? Hey, Jetson 1. Do a flip. No? Oh, not interested. Okay.
We'll see. I mean, I see where you're coming from, but at this point, I don't know. We've seen so many of these flying cars. There's about 20 in production right now. So I think we need to see what lasts the test of time, right? That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Jet Racer flying car. The flight test in the United States. I need to talk to their media team. I want to know more about this. In the United States. I hate your website. Contact.
You don't know what the electronics in there are like. You're just assuming smart people are looking at them.
It could have an R9 receiver that'll fail safe and fly.
Exactly. You might trust this stuff, but I don't. I need to see a whole break. If you can give me the breakdown and I could see all the components, then maybe I'll get in that thing.
I don't know, man.
I'm not going to be the.
Wait. Is this the same guy as this guy?
No.
No, that's not the same. The flyboard. That's not the guy we've seen on social media. The no Misty.
No.
Alrighty. Anyway. I mean, I'd be mighty tempted. I don't know. I'd be mighty tempted.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get me in one of those anytime soon. So,
I mean, what a way to go. I don't want to die. But if I died crashing an experimental drone... Here's the thing. If I died crashing an experimental drone, how many people would be like, oh, yeah, fuck Bardwell. Of course he crashed it. I'd be like, no, the motor failed. It wasn't my fault.
So are you saying it's on brand?
No, I'm saying I am underrated as a pilot. That I don't deserve that reputation, that I'm a much better pilot than people give me credit for. And that would be an unjust travesty if I went out that way and people said that. And you would be like, no, Bardwell's a good pilot. It was probably a technical error.
Yeah. We would investigate the NTSB findings for you, don't worry.
Okay. Well, that's pretty badass. It doesn't run race flight, Abraham. You're joking. It doesn't run race flight. Are you joking? Please don't.
What if it did?
That would give me more hesitation.
That's good.
Just because race flight's so out of date. It hasn't been updated. Okay.
All right.
One more. We got one more.
Last up on It's Barely News, we've got one more for you. Roland has released their 50-year anniversary concept piece. They've done it at CES.
Hold on, Blunty. I pressed the wrong button and I fucked up. Hold on, Blunty. I was on the wrong page and my fingers touched the buttons. Boom. Okay, go ahead. Try again. Start over.
Next up, Roland has for their 50th anniversary, they've created a piano of the future that you can see at CES. And they've tried to design what they think maybe a future piano would look like, also kind of just to have fun, as these concept designs are. This one is interesting to us because in it, they've included flying speakers in the form of small drones.
But isn't that terrible for the audio quality?
Yeah, they talk about how they're basically doing a lot of things to attempt to get the sound profiles down from the drones. Mm-hmm. Again, this is like a concept sort of deal, but they discuss that, in here. Especially, they also discuss latency issues because you have audio latency issues to the drones and stuff. So, kind of an interesting little concept.
All right. Well, that's clever, but I definitely agree that is barely news.
Yes.
All right. And that is going to bring us to the end of the FPV news this week.
Yes,
Thank you guys so much for being here with us. If you have news that you want to submit, you can email to news@fpvknowitall.com with your submissions.
Always down there in the corner if you ever need it. It's always there to email in, and we love your emails giving us more information about what we should show. So
anytime you see FPV-related stuff that you think we should cover, definitely send it in. But that is going to wrap us up for today. We have one super chat. One super chat I got to get. Thank you for a $5 super chat from Philly Style FPV. Instead of GoFundMe, why not just pick a good charity and funnel people to it that way? You know it's legit and handled correctly. It's a valid question, Philly Style. I would rather personally engage with an individual than generically funnel people toward a charity. There's a lot of charity. How do you even begin to pick a charity, right? But when a person reaches out to me and says, hey, someone I know has had a tragedy and needs help, that's different to me than the ongoing tragedy that the charity is constantly helping with. So that's my take on it. But thank you for the donation, Philly Style. Alrighty, folks. We will see you next week at 6 p.m. Thank you, Blunty. Thanks you guys for being here.
Yeah.